welcome. I'm Roberta Gonzales, and this is this month's edition of Visit Mendocino County, Room to Roam. I'm here with Executive Director of Visit Mendocino County. This is the man. This is Travis Scott. And how you doing?
I'm great. I'm glad to be here with you today.
You have been so busy.
We are busy. There is stuff happening all the time in Mendocino County, and we're on the road telling people about it. Mm-hmm. So yes, we are hopping.
So I hate to repeat myself, but if this is your first time ever joining us on this podcast, we drop a podcast every month, and you need to understand that Mendocino County is the second largest county in the state of California. So we have a lot to explore, obviously. And our first stop is?
We're going to stop at Maple Creek and Artevino Winery in the Yorkville Highlands region of Anderson Valley.
Beautiful, beautiful area and beautiful people.
Wonderful people and amazing wine.
Okay, let's get to it. Hello, everybody, and welcome. I'm Roberta Gonzales, and we are featuring Room to Roam, Visit Mendocino County, and that's what we're doing. We're on a road trip, and we stopped at Artevino to meet this wonderful man that now I just want to call my bestie, because Tom Rodrigues. What a joy it's been just to get to sit here and chat it up with you.
Well, what a pleasure to meet you in person.
Oh, well,
I've been watching you for years.
Thank you very much.
And I'd really appreciate a little low pressure coming in.
It would be nice. Yeah. It would be nice. We need some rain.
Are you still connected?
I do. As long as I have a white feather and some white sand and a bottle of tequila, I can do anything. I can make things happen.
Will wine work instead?
Wine will work.
Okay,
yeah, even this lovely Pinot Noir.
Yeah.
Tell me about your past, because you're a man of many, many talents. All of these paintings, stained glass designer as well, and also wine grower
wine,
and connoisseur.
Thank you. Well, I was born and raised in Los Gatos in the 50s, and I grew up in a Portuguese fruit farming family who raised apricots and prunes back in the day. And so both grandparents are Portuguese, and each one of my grandfathers made homemade wine. So I grew up with wine as a kid, started drinking it really young. And
So that's what they do.
That's what they did. It was their pastime. My grandfather would take a little Bota bag into the orchard. It'd be half wine and half water, and that was his fuel for the day.
I think I was mentioning to you that I ran the Lisbon, Portugal Marathon, and at mile 3 at the water station, they're handing out these little shots of vino with an olive in it.
Was that for only the tourists or for the?
It was for the lead runners.
So they wanted to slow you down.
There you go. You go.
Yeah.
So you got into a passion of winemaking, but you were in the Los Gatos area. We're in Mendocino, actually Alexander Valley.
Right.
What brought you here?
Actually, we're Anderson Valley.
Anderson Valley.
Yeah, Alexander's on the Sonoma side.
Oh, okay.
We're Anderson Valley, which is the
Anderson
Mendocino.
Valley. Thank you.
Yeah,
That's an education.
And we're in geographically in the Anderson Valley. We're in the southern end of it.
Okay.
But we have our own AVA, which is appellation, and our appellation is Yorkville Highlands. So we're actually in the Yorkville area of Anderson Valley.
And this is a very special winery because of its organic nature.
Well, we farm organically, and we don't use any additives other than sulfites in our wine. So we consider ourselves natural wine in today's terminology.
Would that be something very similar to, for example, Campo Vida?
Well, they're a little more. I believe they do a little more biodynamic farming, where they bury the horn and all that. I haven't quite gotten that far. We just don't use any pesticides, herbicides.
Wonderful.
And we just let our fruit grow. And with the drought, we're actually doing a lot more dry farming these days.
And what does that mean?
That means we don't water as much, or very little, if at all.
Well, then how do you sustain the grapes?
Well, our vines are 38 years old, so they're deep-rooted, and there's a lot of natural water in these hills. There's underground aquifers. This property has 7 springs on it and 2 wells.
Is that the same as the mineral waters? We were just over at Vichy Springs. Yes.
Yeah.
And
well, that's a little
waters.
different. Yeah, there's different types of water sources underground here. When I bought the place 20 years ago, I was told that the water that we are drinking comes from Oregon, and it runs underground through underground aquifers that are natural. And we had the water test. I had the water tested right away, and it was pure. The guy said I needed to test it again. I couldn't find anything.
Oh, so where are you now? Because it's a drought? Is that
Well,
why,
we just
or-
have there's less water in the system.
Okay.
So when we do irrigate early, our pressure was not as much as previous years.
Right.
So we've just put a little bit of water on the vineyard this year, not a whole lot.
Okay.
No.
But you still need that precious rain and a lot of it.
We need a lot of it.
I
yeah.
was talking to somebody about this, and I'm wondering, has it always been this way? Because we are a Mediterranean climate here in California.
True.
Or does really climate change have something to do with this, where we can't go back any farther anymore and see how much annual rainfall we are supposed to be getting?
Well, that's an interesting topic, because 20 years ago when I moved here, we were averaging 86 inches of rain up here in Mendocino County, in this area. In one year we had over 100. But we also have old growth trees here, and a couple of them have died and fallen down, and we've actually cut a few down. And if you look at the rings of a tree, one of them is, I have a Doug fir down right now that's, 5 feet in diameter. It's got over 250 rings on it, and you can see in the history of this tree of the last 250 years, there have been drought years. That's when the rings are really close together.
See, that's interesting.
And then when the rings are wider, that was a moist year. The tree was able to grow more. So
That's how people are able to tell my age. They count the rings around my neck.
that's hilarious. That's hilarious.
Not one to always want to give my age away.
Yeah.
All right, but I do want to ask you, there's so much to talk about,
Yeah.
because not only do you make these wonderful wines here, but you are an artist. Even one of your paintings hanging in the Hall of Fame?
In the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Baseball
Yeah,
Hall of Fame.
yeah. I did an exhibit at Candlestick Park in '93 called Legends at the Stick. And it was a 3-year project, same time that Ken Burns was doing his history about baseball. And I rented Candlestick Park as the venue, hired actors. In fact, Shamar Moore was one of my actors when he was just starting out in '93.
Sure.
And they were my Field of Dreams team that were playing out in the outfield, and people were able to walk on the field, and all the paintings were placed in the positions that players played. And it was fantastic. It was going to travel around to other ballparks like Wrigley, Yankee, Camden Yards, Fenway, some of the older parks, because it was a nostalgic view of baseball from the late 1800s to 1962, which was when I saw my first game at Candlestick. And the irony of the whole thing was that first time ever, baseball went on strike at the end of my show. So my negotiations with the other ballparks stopped because nobody liked baseball for 5 years. It took Cal Ripken's breaking the Lou Gehrig record to bring people back.
Peter Uberroth, wasn't he like the president of baseball at that
Yes.
time?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I took a hit, a big hit.
Oh, yeah.
But the good news was Sports Illustrated did a big spread on it, and the Baseball Hall of Fame picked a painting, and so I have a piece in the Hall of Fame.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And by the way, that wasn't my stomach growling during this interview. We have Buster and Posey down here. We'll feature a little bit later for you, but Buster and Posey are down here, and they're growling as we talk about baseball because they want to be put in the game, I guess, really soon here too.
Yeah.
So
they just can't believe the Dodgers won on 60 games last year.
Yeah,
They
that's
just can't
crazy.
win.
That's insane.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can't believe it either. I know.
Love you, Dodger fans. Love you.
Sure you do, as much as I do. We need a whole 30-minute show for you because this is not enough time to talk about your stain art glass works and these beautiful paintings and the Hall of Fame and also your wine. But as we wrap this up, and I'm getting ready to say cheers to you because I want another sip here. It's so good. This is a Pinot Noir?
Pinot Noir, Anderson Valley, 2014.
Which was a very good year.
93 points.
Okay.
Pretty good. That means somebody else liked it too.
Very nice. If we were to come visit you, you got to come visit him up here.
Yes.
What's the one thing that you're the most proud of that you'd like to share?
Life.
Live.
Well, our wine, our Chardonnay is the bomb. The Pinots are always great. We have a fantastic Zinfandel. We do Cabernet. We do a Bordeaux blend called Montage. We grow 2 grapes here that are hybrids that were developed in UC Davis. One's called Flora, which is Gewurz and Semillon hybrid, beautiful white crisp wine, and a Symphony, which is a Grenache Gris and Muscat hybrid.
Ooh.
We also make a port in a late harvest wine, and we do a fun blend called Cowboy Red, which is that label right there.
Okay.
And we have a white blend called Buck and Blanco, which is this one. And we're located on Highway 128.
About how far from the Golden Gate Bridge?
We are exactly 100 miles to the middle of the Golden Gate Bridge from here. If
Wow.
you set your odometer on the driveway, you'll be 100 miles at the middle of the bridge.
And I love it. It's a wonderful drive.
Yeah.
Getting to see all the redwoods and just, as you said, celebrate life.
It's fantastic. And we're open 11 to 5, except for Wednesdays. And it's artevinowine.com. And if you want to see my art, it's tomrodriguesstudio.com. And that's Rodriguez with an S, 2 S's, studio, Rodriguez and studio. And
we'll make sure we put that on the visitmendocino.com website as well. And because we're going to be posting all these podcasts there. And what a joy, what a pleasure meeting you.
So I've got to ask you the question. How do you watch a podcast? I've only been listening to them on my phone. How does that work?
This is going to be something brand new. So you can listen to it in your normal platforms, but we're also offering it up, let's say on YouTube, on visitmendocino.com. We're going to have it at robertagonzalesproductions.com, and we're just going to play it out there for whoever wants to pick it up. It's going to be audio and video. So for example, when you're watching right now, we see you and me interviewing. Right here is all the beautiful pictures that we've been taking pictures of around here. Your art, your paintings, and your stained glass. And so you're going to get both of them.
Awesome.
Audio wise, if you're just driving, or if you have your mobile device, you
Yeah.
can punch it up and watch you.
Fantastic.
I know we're trying to do something different. This is the word everybody's been using post-COVID, but we are pivoting. We're trying to create something new.
Yeah. Well,
Right?
this is where creativity comes from.
Right.
From change.
It is, and
Yeah.
you inspire me.
Well, you inspire me too.
Oh, so thank you so much for allowing us to come for Room to Roam here in Mendocino County. Tom Rodrigues, and tell them your name of your place.
It's Maple Creek Winery, Artevino Wines.
There you
And we're here waiting for you. So come on up. We're not that far away.
Rolling hills and vineyard valleys, redwood forests, and a stunning coastline. Mendocino County features wineries, breweries, restaurants, and lovely places to stay. For a breath of fresh air and room to roam, visit Mendocino County.
Tom Rodrigues, he is the man. This guy has so much talent. And by the way, I really want to thank him so much for allowing us to come in and spending so much time with him. I learned about his travels around the world on his motorcycle, about his artistry, and the man makes some fantastic wine.
Absolutely delicious.
Yes, okay. So from there, where do we go next?
We're going to hop in the car and we're going to drive into Boonville, which is on the valley floor. About a 10-minute drive, maybe 15.
And it's what, west?
That's west,
Okay.
yes. And we're going to stop at the Boonville Hotel and see what they have going on these days.
I got to tell you, this is a community of about 800 people. So quaint, so precious, but then they move forward in their hotel accommodations.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just gorgeous. Take a peek. So in this edition of Room to Roam, visit Mendocino County. We're here at the Boonville Hotel and Restaurant. I'm being joined by Melinda Ellis. Yes, a partner with the hotel and the restaurant, as well as Perry Hoffman. And how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Thank you for having us here. You know, we are all from the Bay Area, and we're trying to let people know you can come to Mendocino County, only 100 miles from the Golden Gate Bridge, right? Mm-hmm. And you come up here, and there is room. I mean, there's elbow room to walk in your gardens, visit your hotel, and enjoy your restaurant as well. Please, can you give me a little bit of the history of this hotel? I hear it has a story.
Well, the Boonville Hotel, the building itself, it's been here over 120 years. We've taken it on in the last 32 years. Johnny Schmidt was the founder. At that time, it had just been a restaurant, so he added the rooms upstairs and was cooking. And then over the years, Perry's come on and he does all the food. And we've built more rooms. We have 15 rooms in total. And a restaurant where we do a beautiful prefix menu Thursday through Monday evenings.
So you have the rooms upstairs. It's not like the Pleasanton Hotel, which is historic in Pleasanton, California, but it has no rooms. Mm-hmm. I mean, it has rooms, but you can't rent them out or anything because they're haunted. Mm-hmm. But there is a restaurant downstairs. Here you do have people staying. Plus, I was roaming around because there's room to roam. I was roaming around your grounds. Mm-hmm. You have little casitas.
Mm-hmm.
That's charming.
We have 9 casitas. We have 2 new rooms, the tower rooms. Uh-huh. We have a beautiful vegetable garden that's we use daily and we use for the restaurant. We source from local farms.
Yeah, I think that you probably started farm to table, that concept a long time ago. Now it's become so popular.
Hasn't really ever started or ended. There was never really
Always
started
been,
or end
yeah.
dates. It's hard for us to imagine any other way to really do it.
Right.
I was here 20 years ago. It was one of my first cooking gigs right out of high school. I'm kind of very young in the business. And I came up here and I cooked for about a year and a half with family, better part of a year with family. And Uncle Johnny and my grandmother Sally Schmidt at the apple farm went off and cooked for kind of all over the world for the next 21 years. And I don't know, about halfway through, I just realized that the relationship of kitchen to garden was so incredibly important, and how impossible that is actually built and even have, kind of in the what we call the stainless steel dungeons, of, two floors, underground down an elevator with dumbwaiters, because a lot of high-end commercial kitchens, that's where they exist. But they don't have to, so this place is magic, and we feel it every day.
Yeah, I know. Just for me, and I'm not anywhere near your caliber or even your caliber as far as running a facility, running a hotel, or running a restaurant. But on Taco Tuesday, I love me some running out to my garden and pulling up an onion, pulling some tomato, pulling some cilantro. It tastes different. Mm-hmm. It's just so much fresher. And on that note, I mean, come on, you know best. You've won a Michelin star. How did that happen?
We just cooked, and great people to to put on really elaborate tasting menus. It's impossible to do by yourself. Mm-hmm. So this was a lifetime ago. It feels like, over in Napa days, where it was my hometown. But Michelin's kind of cool that way. That It's daunting, but you never know who they are, what they're looking for, what they want. But they're really, really in tune with food, and not only just what food is, ingredients, and how it works on a plate, but where it came from. Does it make sense seasonally? Does it make sense culturally? And does one, the completion of a meal is not just the focus on one course, So mm-hmm. really looking at just how fluid it was, and not just on one visit. How did it feel in a different season when they came back? So I think that's just one thing that we try to do naturally, but it's easier said than done. So vegetables speak to us. So.
Yeah, vegetables. I was going to say your vegetables speak to you, but being here in Boonville with this kind of climatology, which is pretty much a Mediterranean area, what kind of food serves you best? What can you pick? Like, can you just go over to the ocean and fish and get some fish and bring it and serve it to your people who are staying here at the hotel?
It is a really amazing. I mean, everything about Mendocino is just, it's one of the most beautiful little microclimates on earth. Mm-hmm. We are in a very temperate climate as far as growing, so we can grow. We do have frost here, so it limits things in the wintertime. So avocados and stuff we can never do.
I hear citrus doesn't do so well.
No, citrus only because of the frost. We're, not only in a great grape growing region, but mm-hmm. before the grapes are ever here, it was apples, and they still very much are. We're only about 15 miles as a crow flies from the coast. Incredibly cool mornings, incredibly cool evenings, but hot days throughout the early spring and so forth, and that results in just really great growing conditions for some of the best apples on earth, which is thin-skinned apples. Ooh. And just kind of how we parallel Mediterranean climate, that goes right into grape growing. So some of the best Pinot Noir, Chardonnay, Sauvignon Blanc mm-hmm. Is being grown right here and is being sought after by some of the best winemakers in the whole country. So.
And how about apple pie?
It's right now is peak apple pie season.
Is it?
So,
yes.
Yeah.
So what would make somebody want to come and stay at your hotel?
I think what makes us a little different is it's very much a home.
Mm-hmm.
We have customers that come back year after year, and families that come back, and it's a place where we have a really great staff, super kind. We love beauty. We love great design. We love a relaxed atmosphere. And people come and they just relax and are well fed and in a beautiful environment.
I like what you said to me earlier today. I was peeking around the hotel and I saw this huge stack of cookbooks, and it was placed like underneath one of the kitchen tables. There was a mm-hmm. spot for it. And you said some people come from their hotel rooms upstairs or over here in the casitas and just grab a book and take it back to their room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They do that. Do they try to do any cooking in the room or
no?
Well,
not yet, but we talk a lot of food here. Food is we're all here because we want to eat and experience life, enjoy beauty.
Yeah. So what is one of the best things to make around here then, with everything that you have available to you?
It's hard to say because the seasons, they just change, and because we're just so connected with all the local farms, is that their crops change constantly. So we have peak fruits. So right now, specifically, we just got some amazing local berries. So local strawberries grow here. They actually are planted right next to the Pimentoville pepper farm, which actually about just a mile down the street, we grow about 12% of the world's total population of Espelette pepper, if you will, which is a really sought after Basque region pepper. So it's grown on the Bucket Ranch. So they're just part of this amazing agrarian farming community. I think we have some of the best blueberries on this whole planet from Filigreen Farm, which is just kind of morphing into some of their fall fruits and
so it's
late
great.
season
You
peaches.
guys do share with each other then. It's not like you have to go out and outsource your food from somewhere else.
I always like to say it's much easier to either buy it here, grow it here, or raise it here than have somebody drive it here, So it's like, that's simply
Makes
put.
sense.
Yeah, it makes it, in a way, we don't really need to leave. Sometimes we do. But it was a special little valley. We're roughly about 30 minutes to the coast, 30 minutes to any major, town, to the south or to the east of us, of Ukiah and Cloverdale. So Boonville is a special little valley that you can just kind of come and disconnect, which happens to be our Wi-Fi password as well. So
Now you all
So-
know. You come here, now you know the password to the Wi-Fi here at the Boonville Hotel and Restaurant. So tell me, what is the population here in Boonville?
I don't think anyone's really counting, unfortunately.
It's about 1,200.
1,200.
Is it 1,200? It's that big.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think it was even that big. I thought it was kind of like maybe about 500 or.
Anderson Valley itself is a pretty long and narrow valley. So there's 3 little towns, Boonville kind of being the first that you come to if you're headed north on Highway 128. Small little, great little town of Philo, which is kind of right in the middle of the valley.
See that you just hit something. I never
Sure.
know. Do you say philo or philo
Philo.
or kilo or
Yeah. First one, you got it.
Yeah.
philo?
Yeah.
Philo. Thank you
Philo.
very much.
Yeah. And then, just about another 15 minutes down the road is the town of Navarro, and that's really where the valley kind of comes to an end, and where Navarro State Redwood Park kind of comes in and parallels 128 for the better part of 20 miles, one of the most spectacular drives, where you pop out directly on Highway 1, just a few miles south of Little River, Albion, and the town of Mendocino itself.
So unfortunately, I could spend like really 30 minutes here, but unfortunately I only have like about a minute more. So if you'd like to let everybody know one thing about your hotel and then one thing about your cooking, what would you say?
I would say that it's just a really special place where we've worked to create the world that's important to us in terms of food and beauty and kindness.
Oh, yeah. Come here for some kindness and some good food.
Yeah.
We just have such amazing ingredients to work with that we always feel responsibility in the kitchen to make it extra deliciousness. So we change the menu every day, no joke. And we can't always tell you what we're cooking on Friday, but we promise that it'll be good. Yeah.
Okay, so I am obsessed with Chopped. Is there any chance I could ever see you on Chopped on the Food
Never.
Network? What? I love that
I
show.
would have cashed those checks a long time ago if I wanted to.
I know,
Yeah.
right? Right? Seriously, those $10,000
No,
checks.
we play Chopped, but with really good ingredients that make sense in our own kitchen on a daily basis.
We're in our
So,
haven here.
Yeah.
This
There
is
you
our
go.
haven.
This is your haven, and I feel like I'm in haven heaven right now too. And I want to thank you so much for your time. I know you're very, very busy, and I appreciate because you got to figure out what you're going to make for dinner tonight.
We're doing paella tonight in the courtyard, which is really fun. So today is the one day of the week we actually kind of have a direction. So
That is very cool.
that
I might
should be good.
coming back later on for dinner tonight then. All right, so for Room to Roam right here, where we all want you to visit Mendocino County, I'm Roberta Gonzales, and I want to thank you so much for joining us, and cheers.
Mendocino County, vibrant with incredible views, offering amazing outdoor activities from hiking, biking, and kayaking to wine and beer tasting, gallery hopping, and golfing. Try rail biking. For more adventures, visit animal preserves. And when it's time to take a break, relax at sidewalk cafes and restaurants. Stay longer at any lovely inn throughout the area. For a breath of fresh air and room to roam, visit Mendocino County.
So I enjoyed myself so much in Boonville because it's a small, quaint town with so many eclectic people that have so many wonderful talents with jewelry and artistry. And then again, the hotel itself with the chef.
Right, Chef Perry Hoffman.
World renowned.
World renowned.
Yes,
Yep.
and Melinda, who hosted us at the hotel. Thank you so much. And again, you must see these rooms. They're
Right.
fantastic.
Beautiful.
There. All right, so where's our next stop?
So we're going to jump in the car and we're going to backtrack a little bit, about 2 minutes, to Anderson Valley Brewing Company. Which is kind of right on the corner of two highways, Highway 253 and 128. And we're going to see what the first solar-powered brewery in the world is up to these days.
In the world?
In the world.
How did that happen?
Well, it kind of like a Mendocino County thing. We're super green and try to, be sustainable. And they were forward-thinking in the early 2000s and went solar-powered.
And I have to tell you, I am not a beer drinker, but I changed my tune when I visit them there. So let's take a peek. When you think about the North Bay, you think about great wines. But what about great beer? Welcome to Anderson Valley Brewing Company.
Anderson Valley Brewing Company was founded in 1987. We've been brewing beer for 34 years now, and my family bought it in December of 2019. So I'm the newest guy pretty much at the brewery. We're pretty excited about it because of the beer quality that the brewery makes. They've never made a bad beer. We're in a pretty unique place in the world. The property here is almost 30 acres. We've recently relicensed it and we have opened it as a beer park. So the entire property is now licensed as if you would license a tap room. So we're going to be running beer carts. We have an 18-hole disc golf course that is free to play.
If there's one blessing that came out of COVID at all, and I don't even want to refer to it as a blessing, but if there's one positive that's come out of COVID as you move forward here with your company, what would that be?
I think we've grown tighter as humans. Our facility has been running throughout. We're considered an essential business, and that's given us the ability to keep people employed. And that, I think, has helped us a lot in being able to work together and kind of get to know each other. I came into the brewery 2 months before quarantine happened, and it's been a hell of a year for people to get to know me and for me to get to know other people. And I didn't really have a choice, so I took it on as an opportunity to kind of show what kind of character my family has and how we want to treat people and what we think is important.
Right over here, we're bringing the beer in. We rinse the cans with sanitizer, we flip them back over, and they'll come in and fill with beer, and then they'll come down and they'll get a lid on top of it, and then it's seamed on. So the lid is actually seamed onto the can. And then the can comes around and gets rinsed one more time before it's packaged up and put into pallets. All right, so we're going to try 3 different beers today, and I think it'll give you a good idea of the range of beers we make. The first, we're going to start with our Boone Amber. This is our flagship beer. It was the first beer we ever made. It's our most popular beer. And I think it's probably most accessible beer that we have. Pass me that one over there. And so it's really kind of our ode to a British pale ale. See, it's bright, clear, kind of reddish, so it's going to have some nice caramel color. It's a nice kind of light tan head. It's malty nose, kind of little floral in there.
Oh, that's delicious.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think it's easy drinking. It's something that I think if you want a beer, if you go to London pub, for example, this is the kind of beer that people are drinking and they're having a few of. It's 5.8% alcohol, so not too alcoholic, and it's not too bitter.
It's going to be tough to beat.
Well, that's a challenge then, huh?
Yes.
Okay.
So what's the story with the grizzly with the antlers?
So this is an offspring from a bear and a deer, which would be a deer.
Gotcha.
I don't make this up. I'm not the marketing guy. This is an English-style oatmeal stout, which we make, called Barney Flat's Oatmeal Stout. And then we take that beer and we age it for 3 months in a Wild Turkey bourbon barrel. We have a nice relationship with Wild Turkey. They supply us with nice wet barrels, and we get, I think, a really delicious kind of light bourbony flavor from it.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah, chocolatey,
Yeah.
with notes of vanilla in there, a little bit of wood from the oak.
I've had them where I can, almost the whiskey was too much.
Yeah,
This is perfect.
this is a collaboration between all of our brewers, and it is soured in the brew house like a Goza, but unlike a Goza, it doesn't have the coriander. It does have some salt in there, but it's less salt than a Goza, and salt is a pretty unusual ingredient to be adding to any beer. It's traditional for Gozas, but we wanted a beer that was really tropical, so it's got passion fruit and guava, and there's a salty component to it, very light saltiness, and then the sourness. So very different from your other beers.
Okay. Ooh, I like that.
But you really get the tropical fruit,
yeah.
right?
Oh yeah, I can taste the fruit in there.
Yeah. And
And then the sour kind of gets you at the end.
yeah,
That's really good.
very thirst quenching.
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of times people that don't like beer, they tell me, well, I don't like beer. I'm like, well, we just haven't found the right beer for you yet. And they try this and they're like, well, this isn't beer, you know, this is, but it is beer. And it's just a very different kind of beer.
You know, Travis, I thought it was just amazing because Fal spent so much time with me not being a beer connoisseur, explaining things for me.
No, he's so gracious, and he loves to share their craft and what they do at Anderson Valley Brewing Company. And it really is special. I mean, to walk around that place and have the brewmaster share with you, it's just an awesome place.
And besides the beer, there's disc golf.
There is disc golf.
Have you played?
I have.
So have I, and I'm totally awful. And how about you?
So I'm terrible, but it doesn't matter after 2 beers.
It
so.
really doesn't. It really doesn't. But you know, one thing, going back to the beer again, there's so many different types of beer. And since I don't know anything about beer, I know someone who does. And
Right.
our videographer who is with us,
Yes.
Michael Hahn. Let's spontaneously bring him on here. And do you mind?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I'll step out and let him come in.
Okay. All right. So let's bring in Michael because Michael was the videographer who was shooting all those beautiful scenes you just saw. And I have to ask you honestly, hi there, first of all.
Howdy.
Howdy. What did you think of Anderson Valley Brewing Company?
Oh, it was just an awesome place. The brewmaster Fal clearly knows his stuff. He's spent a lot of time abroad studying beer making in other cultures, and that's really reflected in the beers that he makes. Whether it's his IPAs, his ambers, gozes, which is like a German twist on a sour. There's just a beer for everyone there.
What's the difference between, like, would you say gozer?
A goze.
A gose?
Goze.
A goze. Okay. What's the difference between a goze and an IPA?
Well, an IPA is a very hoppy beer that just has a classic beer taste to it, whereas a goze, as I said, is like a twist on a sour. So it's on the sour side.
Oh, yeah. I did try a little bit of that. You just sip it a little bit and it was sour.
Yeah, it's a good summer beverage.
Yeah. What was your favorite?
My favorite was actually the cherry goze.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
So you would recommend it? Very
I
highly.
would. I would
Yeah.
recommend it for anyone.
Yeah. And did you try the disc golf?
I did try the disc golf. It was actually my first time doing it, and I'll definitely be back. And it's cool because I haven't seen a place that offers that.
There you go. From a true beer connoisseur, you give it what? Thumbs up or thumbs down?
2 thumbs up.
All right. Well, thank you, Michael, and thank you for all those beautiful pictures you provided for us during this Visit Mendocino County Room to Rome episode. You can go now.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Hey, Travis, where you been? I thought he was going to come back with a bottle of wine and a couple of glasses because we are wrapping up this episode now.
It's almost time for wine. We're getting there.
It's because it's always 5 o'clock somewhere,
Right,
they say, right?
exactly.
But we've had a great time sharing with you 3 wonderful places in and around Mendocino County where you have room to roam. So join us next month when we drop our next podcast around the 15th of each month.
Yep.
Until then, everybody, I'm Roberta Gonzales with
Travis Scott.
and visit Mendocino County, and we hope to see you again very soon. Meanwhile, take care of one another.